Welcome to Topic A, everyone. I'm Gary Perna. Today I am with congressional candidate for the 9th District, Schuylkill County Commissioner George Halcovage. George is running in the 9th District, the new district. We'll talk about all that in just a few moments, but George, welcome to Topic A.
Well, thank you very much, Gary. Appreciate being here.
So we're going to talk about why you decided to run for Congress. And first, I want to start a little bit about a background. Who is George Halcovage, and what have you done leading up to this day when you decided to run for Congress?
Well, first of all, my wife, Barbara, and I have been married for 37 years. I grew up in Pottsville. I was raised in Pottsville, went off to Villanova University, and that's where I met my wife. We have 5 children, 7 grandchildren. Very fortunate, all successful and are doing very well, and I give credit to my wife for that.
Well, I was going to say, and one of your sons is very successful as an assistant coach at Villanova, who we've loved watching coach and get us to some titles.
Hey, you know what? That is very important, but even more important than what my son George is doing, it's my daughters who are moms. Mm-hmm. You know, and raising 5 children, another one raising 2 children, and their husbands, both being military. They're graduates of the United States Naval Academy, and so we really get what military and patriotism is about, also. And
before you got into the public life, I'll say, in running for office, you worked in a family-owned business in the insurance industry before you decided to run even for county commissioner.
Absolutely. After I came back from Villanova, I went into the family insurance agency, Morgan & Halcovage Insurance in Minersville. Still active. My wife, my sister, my brother-in-law are still involved, and we're very fortunate. We have a good business.
And then a few years ago, loan's been known to a lot of people in Schuylkill County. This guy named George Halcovage comes out of Pottsville and runs for county commissioner, and has done a fantastic job on as county commissioner with Frank Stoudemire and Gary Hess being on the board, and a lot of progress has been made in Schuylkill County.
Let me tell you, we've been very fortunate. Actually, even before I was commissioner, I chaired the Industrial Development Authority. I've been involved, and I'll even just go some of my times with the Knights of Columbus, doing some statewide initiatives there. I'm just very blessed. Being an active firefighter, volunteer firefighter, which you know a lot about, Gary, mm-hmm. and what that means to our community to keep our houses and our people safe, mm-hmm. and also to give the training to our firefighters to make sure that they get home to their family members safe also. It's very important. I've always been involved in my community. I cantor in my church, St. Patrick's in Pottsville. Faith, family, mm-hmm. and the way I describe this is I live in the district, I work in the district, my insurance agency in Minersville, I worship in the district, St. Patrick's in Pottsville, and my faith is very important to mm-hmm. me as well as to my family. But I also serve the people of the district. And you know, somebody said, well, you serve the people of the county. I said, no. I said, here's the amazing thing about this new district. Let's talk about Luzerne County. Luzerne County, we have the Luzerne Schuylkill WIB, mm-hmm. which I work with their council very well. We have a great relationship about the career links, about making sure we have training for the people, resume building, things like that. That's extremely important. With Montour and Columbia counties, I've worked with the 5 counties in that region mm-hmm. towards a radio system. They are having problems up in Montour and Columbia about communications with their 911 center. As you know, what we did with the 911 center in Schuylkill mm-hmm. County, it's state of the art. And again, remember, that was kicked by prior commissioners. That was kicked down the road since 1996. Gary Hess, Frank Stoudemire, myself came together and we fixed the 911 center mm-hmm. because public safety is so important to us. So I work with them. When Northumberland County was having problems with their jail and the fire and rebuilding, we've worked with them. Lebanon County, 80% of our veterans go to Lebanon VA. The Sexual Assault Resource Center, I'm dealing with them for that. Mm-hmm. For Berks County, we have, we're talking about a joint prison, possibly. We're looking early at that. But our Penn State Extension, from a conservation standpoint, a farming situation, they are big to us. So the amazing thing is, I've already been doing these things in the districts with the county commissioners or the county council people mm-hmm. in those areas. And that's really exciting to me because I already know the district. one of my opponents basically said, well, I haven't gotten to this county yet. Well, I've been to all the counties. You know how many times I come up into Luzerne County, the Back Mountain area. I was just up in Berwick, Columbia County. I was at their mayor's dinner the other day. I've been to scoreboards. I've been up to Danville, to the barn. I go to these places. I know the people, and that's what's most important to me. And the reason that I decided to run on this is that I want to make sure that we have a representative that lives in the district and understands what the needs of the district. In fact, one of my opponents actually doesn't live in the district, and that's of concern to me because he doesn't really know the people in the district. He said he would move into the district after, but there's a condition on that. So if you don't win, you're not going to move in. That doesn't make any sense. Either you live here or you don't live here. And we're not going to talk to region, we're talking about the district.
And let's talk about the district real quick. The new 9th district, when the court finally came out, we finally got a ruling of what it was going to look like. We got the new 9th district, which for many people who lived in Schuylkill County, we were the 17th district.
Absolutely.
And then we came out and with the new 9th district, which all of Schuylkill County's in, all of Carbon County, Clubbian, Lebanon, a big chunk of Berks, and a chunk of Montour, excuse me, all of Montour, am I correct? And
just part of Montour.
Part of Montour, and we have a little slither of Northumberland in
there?
there?
Northumberland.
So we got this new district handed to us, and it really is, right now, if you look at it in the new map, we don't have anybody right now.
Correct.
With it. So this election is really important with that. With this new blueprint of the 9th district, what are you looking for to represent in Congress? Why in this area, having this district put together, having this new print put out, why do we need somebody with experience in government and experience living in the district to represent us in Congress?
Well, first of all, I'm the only elected official, and I've been blessed by the people of Schuylkill County. When I ran for re-election, I was the top vote getter. Why? Because they know that I'm a hard worker and I tirelessly work for the people that I represent. I don't consider myself a politician. I consider myself a public servant. I'm there to serve the people. I'm there to listen to the people, to know what their needs are, and to do what's best. And I'll go off on a segue on that, Gary, because I always tell the story, my Thanksgiving Day meal story that our Knights of Columbus does in Schuylkill County. We served just short of 2,000 meals on Thanksgiving Day every year. First year we did it, I was in charge. We ended up doing about 360 meals. There was an older gentleman that called me up the week after. I felt pretty good about this. And he said to me on the phone, he says, "Did you guys do those meals?" I said, "Yes, sir, we did." He said, "I have a complaint." I said, "Oh my gosh, was your meal good?" He says, "Oh," I said, "It was great, I couldn't finish it all." I said, "What was your complaint?" He says, "What's with the roll?" I said, "Now, okay, we gave fresh turkey, homemade filling, yams, corn, heated up, cranberry sauce, a roll, dessert, drink, in a bag, delivered to their house. What's with the roll?" I said, "Can you explain to me?" He says, "Sure." He says, "Here I am." He says, "I got this meal." I said, "I couldn't finish it all." I said, "Good." I then went and I asked, I put what I couldn't finish in the refrigerator. Okay. I went to watch a football game Thursday afternoon, Thanksgiving, football game. He said, "I fell asleep." He said, "What's the best thing you can have on Thanksgiving night?" He says, "I got up around 7:30. What's the best thing you can have?" Gary?
A turkey sandwich.
Exactly. He says, "Turkey sandwich." He says, "I don't want a roll." He says, "I want 2 pieces of bread." I was like, okay. And so I went home and told my wife, Barbara, I said, "You're not going to believe this." I told her story. And she looked at me and she says, "George, think about it." She says, 2 pieces of bread are cheaper than a roll. You're right. We brought the Girl Scouts in the next year. We put 2 pieces of bread in a baggie, delivered that to the people. That year, I had a whole bunch of women call me up, thanking me because they now had lunch the next 2 days. I'm like, but what's the moral of that story? And this is how I serve the public, okay? If as soon as I heard I have a complaint or somebody, disagreed with me, and I said, tough, and I hung up the phone, I would have missed out on the best recommendation. The people of the 9th District know themselves better than anyone. When you have situations with the fire companies or in the township and in our area, I'm a phone call away. I pick up the phone and we get results because we need to work together. I am no better than anyone else. I want to make sure that I am representing everyone, but I also want to be sure that I am a strong proponent of what the ideals of our area are. Pro-life. Let me cut right into that. It's pro-life. There's no question. There's no exception. Conception to natural death. I am strong on that. What's the option to pro-life? Adoption. Not pro-choice, adoption. There's so many families that want to have babies that can't. This is a great opportunity. Guns, okay? I'm an NRA supporter. It's our constitutional right, Second Amendment. We send our young people to war, okay, into the military, age 18. We have the rights. Just follow the verifications that are going on, watch them. It's not the gun that's killing the person, it's the person. So if we have a mental health situation, and again, I'll segue onto that, it's a very interesting area, but that's important. Immigration, I look at the situation, legal immigration, no problem. We're a country of immigrants, okay? Illegal immigration, I have a problem, okay? We need a border. We need to secure the borders. And yeah, right now I know they're using some drones with Border Patrol, but we need to get that wall where, we have to, that kicks right into the opioid crisis. Just a flow of maybe some bad people are coming in, but also the opioids that are coming in. We have got to stop that. I deal with that on a daily basis, and that's where I differentiate with my competitors, because I've been dealing as a county commissioner with the opioid crisis, with senior services for elder abuse. I've been dealing with children and youth, foster families, a mother that may have drug addiction, a father may be incarcerated at the time. I deal with that. Jails, to make sure that we incarcerate those that have to be incarcerated. That's extremely important. The 911 center, to provide that public safety. Nursing home situation, we ended up privatizing that, and we saved the taxpayers a lot of money. That was a drain on our budget. And unlike the state and the federal government, counties have to balance their budget. We have to. Now, I'm very proud of the situation because even though my one opponent is putting out mailers that we kicked up taxes, our taxes, average tax over 7.5 years, average increase to the local homeowner in Schuylkill County, $72. $72. It's over 7.5 years. That's pretty good. They said our spending is up 70%. I went to our CPA, our chief financial person, our spending is up 1.87%. Where they're getting these numbers from, I don't know, but they can make them say what they want to, but I know what my numbers are. I'm a fiscal conservative. I sit down like we sit down at our home, and I want to make sure that we have the money to do what we have to do. The incarceration, we have an overexplosion of people that we have to incarcerate. We've had to move them out to other counties. Does that cost money? Yes. But do we want those people out on the street? Absolutely not. So they're the services that we provide on a regular, routine basis. I go into what drives me really up a wall about Washington, the unfunded mandates. I love what President Trump is doing. I do. I was asked to come down. I spoke on behalf of counties about the tax plan at the White House. What a great honor that was. But what President Trump is doing as far as national security, again, North Korea, Iran, Russia, they're looking because there's somebody in there that's not going to mess around, okay? They know when he says something, he means it. How refreshing is that? And that the military can look at a commander-in-chief that is strong on defense. He's to protect us here. That's very important to me. The other thing that he has done, and let's talk about the overregulation. For any regulation that he would want to put in place, he wants to get rid of two. Let's look what's happening with the coal industry. They closed up in Scranton the MSHA office that was in charge of the safety for mines. That was about the anthracite region. Now you have a situation where they go out to Pittsburgh. That's bituminous. Totally different. Everybody out there knows the difference between anthracite and bituminous. But yet we are overregulated. Our companies are overregulated. It's a problem. Veterans deserve to have the care. That is extremely important. And I give my word that our veterans will be taken care of.
And I want to go back on some of this that we just went through here. I want to go back to immigration. You just said you believe that we need a wall, we need extra border security, we have to look at how stopping that. Every candidate I have ever interviewed for a congressional seat has said we need this. We need to do it. How are we going to do it? How are we going to do this when, we've been kicking the can down the road for so many years? How can we get a Republican Congress with a Republican president to finally take action to do something to stop this flow? And it's not a trickle, it's a flow of illegal immigrants into our communities. Now, some will argue and say, well, they're coming here and doing us a favor. They're taking jobs people don't want. I never met somebody in my line of work who said, I don't want a job. I don't want to do that work. How do we do that? How do we do this?
The path in DACA, okay, there is a path that first of all, we have to document everyone. Mm-hmm. We must do E-Verify. There's some companies out there that have been hiring illegal aliens, mm-hmm. okay? If they're not documented, there has to be sanctions. Sanctuary cities, no. Stop the funding for communities that are sanctuary cities. I mean, it's not right. And again, I do something, you do something. Oh, we're going to go through the system. They do something, they go back, and then they come right back again. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no teeth in it. We've got to enforce the laws that are presently in place. Mm-hmm. As far as with illegal immigration, there has to be controls on what happens. Again, if we get everyone documented, we know. People who have come here just recently legally, they understand it, okay? Mm-hmm. And all due respect, we all know people that have come, that have been here for a number of years, okay? Get registered, get on the board, and let's do this. Now, when they're talking about DACA, that's just going to be a straight line, maybe mother, child, we have to stop the aunts right. and the uncles and the cousins and everything else. It's a democratic way of just continuing that flow. Why? Because they see from the social basis that they're the people who are going to vote for them. We've got to, how terrible it is that when you go in to vote, you don't have to show an ID. That makes no sense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. That is something that I feel we really need to look at as well.
I want to go and talk about the opioid crisis. We have seen a huge uptick in the last few years, especially of heroin, fentanyl-laced heroin into our area. And something that I noticed Schuylkill County working on was trying to clean up the blighted properties. Blight leads to crime, and it goes back to the broken window theory. And we've talked about it a number of times. I've talked with a number of district attorneys and lawyers about it. With the opioid crisis, there have been some relief in it and trying to get people the help they need. But there's still not enough, and we're still seeing a huge problem. And you said it a little bit earlier. You may see a mom who is having a problem with drugs. Dad may be incarcerated. Now the children are going into the social services and being placed in the foster care, and it's a whole process. It's not just a one-sentence issue. Mm-hmm. This is a major thing. What can we do if you are going to Congress on a federal level to try to ease that up on local municipalities, because they're taking the brunt of this? Local police officers, no the state troopers. What can we do to really nip this in the bud?
First of all, we've got to put controls on how opioids are prescribed. Mm-hmm. That's a major problem. One of the statistics that actually shocked me, and again, as a county commissioner, I will tell you, I became educated about so many issues I never thought I would have to know about in my life. And the drug problem with our drug and alcohol people, with our drug courts. That first hit that they would get of heroin, of meth, it's usually that first high that they have. It's like the ecstasy, and then they try to repeat it. And that's where we see situations where Narcan's being used and everything mm-hmm. else. But the key is, it's the education, plus also our drug take-backs that we do already locally, that 80% of all opioid addiction starts with a prescription drug. Mm-hmm. So now it's a matter of, there are controls, and I have some doctors in Schuylkill County that are working on something to make sure that we're just not prescribing opioids.
Right.
And that's where it starts. It starts at that level. When we have that little bit of pain, okay, sometimes we have to work through that pain instead of just giving ourselves a pill.
Right.
And I think you see more times than not, most people are afraid to take that because they're afraid of addiction themselves.
Yes.
Okay, it's scary. So it's a matter of educating, making sure that the drug companies are being responsible and doing the right thing. So it's not just one straight answer. We've got to bring people together. But I could tell you, my job as a county commissioner, and you know I'm not quiet about things, I try to bring people together. What you do in my business, in my line of business as a county commissioner, but what I also do, and I will do in Congress, is you surround yourself by people who have more intelligence in those areas than you do. You bring them to the table. You listen to all sides, and then what you do is you then make an informed decision based on that. But I will be the proponent in that area because it is a major problem. I pray for those who have it. It touches almost every family. It's scary.
Along those same lines, we have first responders going out there, and where it is so different even from 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You're having EMS workers, police officers, firefighters who are getting into situations. I'll use the example of Scranton that just happened not long ago, where firefighters were getting shot at from a burning house with a situation up there. How do we protect our first responders, police officers, EMS, firefighters, who are going out there, many of them volunteers, they're not getting a paycheck to do this. How do we protect them? What are you going to do in Congress to protect those individuals every day?
I think that's more of a state and local issue, but I mean, we have to give them the ability to, first of all, from an educational standpoint, we're working on something right now in Schuylkill County on believe it or not, a drone initiative that you can send that out there first to find out what is there as you're responding, so you know what you're going into. It's that advanced notification, it's public safety. It is the safety of our first responders. That is extremely important. But again, that's a matter of bringing people. You look for best practices of where a community may be doing something that's good. That's what we have to do. So,
I also just want to throw in there quick, wanted to mention what the Schuylkill County Commissioners as a whole did for the firefighters and first responders in Schuylkill County with making sure that there were facilities to train in, and made sure money was available each day, going after congressmen, senators, representatives, getting all that money, going to the industries, working a public-private partnership to get a new facility built in Schuylkill County, and that's no small task.
Well, yeah, we need smaller government, okay? Government is too big, and that is one of the things. Let private industry work with us. The public-private partnership that we do extremely well is great. Yes, we did $500,000 towards this facility. It is so important. If that saves one life of a firefighter or a young person or an elderly person that is in that house, that money that we spent for that public safety is worth its weight in gold. So when somebody says, well, taxes may have to go up, and again remember our average $72, guess what? If I save a life because of something that we did, that's worth its weight in gold. I will trade that for anything. And we have to balance the budget, and we will balance the budget. And that's the other thing. I signed a no new tax pledge in the federal government, because federal government, the spending that we have on some things that really aren't needed, and again, the overregulation that we're spending more money there, there's so many areas that could be saved, and that's what we have to look at. Where can we do it? We have to do it like we're at our kitchen table, and that to me is very important.
I want to ask you, we covered a big gamut of topics here, but I want to ask you, day one, going to Congress, what's your top priority?
Representing the people of this district. Again, I'm going to go right down. Pro-life, Second Amendment, immigration, the opioid crisis, unfunded mandates, the veterans. Again, understand, I know my district, okay? I am a conservative Republican. I have not given, like one of my opponents, Dan Muser, there's money has gone to Hillary Clinton, to Matt Cartwright. And again, Matt Cartwright, he lives 15 miles from Matt Cartwright, from Shavertown to Music. He lives 15 miles away from, he lives in the 8th district. He could run in the 8th district. However, he wants to come down to this district. He wants to buy this district. All due respect, this district is not for sale. This is the people's district, and you need to have somebody who lives here, works here, worships here, and also serves the people here. That to me is most important. But again, it's to serve the people. That's what I look at. We, in government, I'll say again, I am not a politician. I'm not going to give you lip service. I get things done. I am a public servant. I'm there to serve the public, and that's what Gary, you've seen it firsthand. A lot of people have talked about things, doing things, and nothing happens. State level property tax reform. And again, you're talking about in the federal level, one of my opponents talks about property tax reform. It's not a federal level. It's not a federal situation. It's a state situation. The state should have done property tax reform because that's all the counties can use in order to build up monies to help pay for services. That you have to know what your role is and what to do, but you need to work across all lines. Local government, state government, county government, and the feds. We need to work together for the betterment of our community. And I will tell you, I know this area, and I can hit the ground running in Washington. And Gary, you know me well enough. I'm not one of few words. When I do something, when I'm talking to someone about it, I don't care if it be President Trump, who I highly respect. I've seen him backstage where he's given his son and daughter a hug and a kiss. He's real. He's real. Now, do I want him to count to 10 before he tweets? Absolutely. But the fact is, he's getting things done. Yeah, people talked about things, the health care. Let's just talk about that just for a second. 7.5 years. We have to repeal Obamacare. They didn't expect President Trump to get in. He gets in. He said, okay, let's do it. Well, they don't have a plan. That's what you have to do. Let's not talk words. Let's get action done. And I will be such a proponent for President Trump because he's a businessman. He knows how to get things done. Again, sometimes he's a little rough around the edges. Absolutely. But you know what? So are many of us. And that's what I like. I like action better than words. I like somebody that's going to put the truth out there and not spew lies. You know, again, that spending went up 70% in my county. No, it didn't. Audited figures, 1.87% per year. We have charged our people to do more with less. How about that? But yet, somebody can use other numbers. Really look at the person to see if they're looking in your eye and they're giving you a straight answer.
We have we're closing in on 1 minute to the end of the show. I want you, like I do with everyone else here, in that minute, tell the voters of the 9th District why they should vote for George Halcovage.
Well, again, first of all, I thank you so much for hearing me today. I ask first for your prayers. For my family, having 5 children, 7 grandchildren, and a great wife, it's not easy. And every day that I'm in the courthouse, I say prayers because I'm dealing with people's lives already on a daily basis. I ask for your vote. I tell you that I am one of you. I live here, I worship here, I work here, and I serve the people here. I will tell you that every part of this district that I have been in already, I will work with your commissioners, I will work with all of your elected officials, I'll work with you to make sure that you are taken care of. I am just George. I'm not Commissioner George Halcovage, I am not Congressman George Halcovage. I am just George, and I'm asking humbly for your vote. And I thank you, and God bless you.
And for somebody who wants to learn more about you, your website they can go to.
They can go to, this is interesting because my one opponent brought up, I think, brought up George Halcovage, all the George Halcovage for Congress, Halcovage for Congress. I don't have a website from that standpoint, but I got GeorgeHalcovage2018.com. And we also have a Facebook, George Halcovage for Congress. You can learn a lot about George. You can learn about the people that support me. And again, remember, I'm just one of the people.
All right. Well, George, thank you so much for coming on. And remember, Election Day is Tuesday, May 15th here in Pennsylvania. Let's get out and vote. Thanks for joining us on Topic A. We'll see you next time.